The Atlanta Falcons have reached a breaking point. An early elimination from the 2025 NFL season has exposed a crisis that runs far deeper than just poor execution on the field. What fans witnessed wasn't just another loss. It was the complete collapse of a project that once held promise but ultimately failed in every meaningful way. A team with no direction, no identity, and no leadership. Let's analyze everything, but first click the like button and write in the comments, "Out with Morris." There's no other way to put this, Falcons fans. Raheem Morris has officially run out of time. The 2025 season, once filled with promise, officially collapsed in Week 14 as the Atlanta Falcons were eliminated from playoff contention in a fashion so humiliating that even the most patient owner wouldn't be able to ignore it. Tied 6-6 at halftime, Atlanta came out after the break and was utterly destroyed, outscored 31-6 in the second half. No touchdowns, no adjustments. No signs of life. What happened in that second half wasn't just a loss, it was the funeral of the Raheem Morris era. This is not just another bad game in a forgettable season. This was the moment when everyone, fans, front office, even the broadcast team, could feel it. The energy shifted. You don't need to break down the box score to understand how bad it was. Just look at third downs. Atlanta went 1-for-13. That is not a football team ready to compete. That's a team waving a white flag. And if that's not enough to convince you, consider this. They kicked a field goal while down 23-6. That's not just questionable coaching. That's a confession. A confession that you don't believe in your offense, your quarterback, or your ability to do anything other than delay the inevitable. Let's call it what it is. A complete systems failure. Offense, defense, special teams. Nothing worked. And it all starts at the top. Raheem Morris looks checked out. Zach Robinson, the offensive coordinator, called one of the worst games we've seen all season. Screen passes on third and long, conservative decisions when desperation was needed, and zero creativity or rhythm. There's simply no excuse for this level of offensive ineptitude with the talent on this roster. Kirk Cousins? He's done. The few flashes of decent play against bottom-feeder teams like the Jets and Saints are meaningless now. When faced with a legitimate defense, Cousins looked like he didn't belong on the same field. The arm isn't there. The timing isn't there. The leadership isn't there. And the excuses have run out. Anyone still clinging to the hope that he could turn it around has to admit it now. That ship has sailed. Bijan Robinson, for all the weight he's carried on his back this season, finally had a human moment with a costly fumble. But how can you blame the guy? He's been the lone bright spot, the heartbeat of the team, trying to drag this franchise forward while everyone else stands still. He didn't have a great game, but even on a bad day, he showed more fight than half the roster. One player who quietly turned in a solid performance was Kyle Pitts. Yes, he dropped an early pass. Some of that falls on strong defensive coverage, but after that, Pitts gave everything he had. It's clear he's playing for his future, likely not in Atlanta, but somewhere else. That motivation has him fighting on every snap, even when the rest of the team seems to have given up. But here's the worst part. The collapse is now affecting the players. Earlier in the year, it felt like poor coaching was holding back a talented roster. Now, the talent is fading. The effort is fading. The heart is gone. A.J. Terrell gave up. Mike Hughes, despite a pick, his first since 2021, got burned multiple times. D. Alford was flat out ineffective. James Pierce Jr. was the only defender who showed up, and even he was taken out early. Injuries are piling up, continuity is non-existent, and this locker room is clearly finished with Raheem Morris. This loss was more than a game, it was a message. A declaration that this coaching staff, from Morris to Robinson, no longer belongs in Atlanta. And frankly, at this rate, they'd be lucky to get hired at a fast food joint next season. That's how bad it's gotten. These are not NFL-level performances from a professional coaching staff. It's past time to rip off the bandage and begin to rebuild. And if you still had doubts, think again. You can't chalk this up to close losses or say we're just a few tweaks away. Not when you go toe-to-toe with one of the top teams in the NFC and look completely lost. The Falcons weren't just beaten, they were exposed. It's no longer a question of if Raheem Morris gets fired. It's when. And when that moment comes, it won't be a sad day. It'll be a fresh start. So let's talk about it, Falcons fans. After a humiliating loss and a season that's officially dead, what do you think the team should do with Raheem Morris and this coaching staff? Now that the playoff hopes are officially buried and the curtain is all but closed on the Raheem Morris era, the conversation naturally shifts to what's next, and more importantly, who's next? If there was any doubt that the Falcons need to clean house, Sunday's performance ripped that doubt to shreds. This isn't just a coaching problem anymore. It's a culture problem. And it starts with resetting the entire operation from top to bottom. This loss gave us clarity. The Atlanta Falcons have no offensive identity, no defensive backbone, and absolutely no leadership. Every week it's the same stale script with different opponents. And the real danger isn't just that the Falcons are losing, it's how they're losing. There's no fight, no urgency. And when that creeps into the locker room, it spreads like a virus. We're watching a team that has completely given up on its head coach, and if you need more proof of that, look no further than how lifeless the team looked after halftime. Even basic fundamentals are falling apart. The offensive line is getting bullied. The secondary is getting cooked. Third down efficiency is non-existent. These aren't schematic issues, these are effort issues. And when the players start quitting, the front office has no choice. You don't salvage something that's already on fire. You rebuild from the ground up. Let's go back to the quarterback situation, because it deserves a closer look. Kirk Cousins was brought in to be the veteran leader. A steadying force. But he's been anything but. When the lights are brightest, when the opponent is real, he folds. He looks like a guy holding onto the remnants of a career rather than elevating a franchise. Michael Penix Jr. was supposed to be the backup plan, maybe even the future. But if you think Penix would have looked any better behind this offensive line, with this coordinator, against this kind of competition, you're dreaming. Neither quarterback stands a chance under this coaching staff. Zach Robinson has been a disaster. His play calling is so predictable it's almost insulting. How many times have we seen a screen pass called on 3rd and long? It's the kind of decision-making that tells a defense, hey, don't worry, we're not even trying to beat you. That's the mindset permeating this team right now, a lack of belief, a lack of accountability, and a complete absence of killer instinct. Robinson is in over his head, and the damage he's doing to this offense is beyond repair. Let's talk about the defensive side. Once considered the strength of the team, it has completely unraveled. You can see it in the body language. You can feel it in the effort, or lack thereof. A.J. Terrell, once a lockdown corner, looked disinterested. Dalford was ineffective. Mike Hughes had one shining moment with the pick, but that was washed away quickly with blown coverages and missed tackles. These guys aren't just playing poorly. They're playing like they want the season to end. Like they're ready to move on from the coaching staff as badly as we are. Even James Pierce Jr., the lone bright spot, was pulled early. Injuries are one thing, but the decision to sideline the only player showing consistent effort is mind-boggling. That kind of move reeks of a coaching staff that's lost control. There's no plan. No vision. Just damage control. And yet, somehow, the worst part isn't what we saw on the field, it's what we heard after the game. There was no accountability. No fire. No ownership. Morris continues to talk in vague platitudes, trying to spin this into a learning opportunity. But this team isn't learning. It's regressing. And fans know it. You could feel it in the stadium. You could hear it in the boos. This city is fed up. Falcons fans are some of the most passionate in the league, but their patience has been abused, and the crowd silence in the second half said it all. They've seen enough. So where do we go from here? Start with the head coach. Raheem Morris cannot be allowed to coach another game in 2025. He's lost the locker room. He's lost the fans. And he's lost the right to keep his headset. Every week he remains only delays the inevitable. The Falcons need a new voice. Someone with a vision. Someone who demands excellence. Someone who can bring accountability back to this organization. Because right now, it's completely missing. Next, the staff. Zach Robinson needs to go. The offense is stagnant, unimaginative, and uninspired. Every week feels like deja vu. If this franchise wants to attract real quarterback talent or develop what they already have, they need a mind that understands how to build an offense around player strengths. That is clearly not Robinson. As for the roster, some tough decisions are coming. Kirk Cousins is not the answer. Michael Penix Jr. needs a real system before we even know what he is. Kyle Pitts, despite his effort, will likely be playing for a different team in 2026. And Bijan Robinson? He needs help. You cannot let one of the most gifted backs in the league spend his prime years in football purgatory while the rest of the roster collapses around him. And then there's the front office. Terry Fontenot has some soul-searching to do. This roster, built with the intent to compete, is a mess. Injuries played a role, yes. But poor decisions and even worse leadership have done far more damage. The Falcons need to hit the reset button now. Not in February. Not after the draft. Right now. Because every week that passes is another week wasted. But Falcons fans, here's the good news. For the first time this season, there's clarity. The delusion is over. The blind hope has been replaced with the truth. This team needs change, and we all know it now. That's step one. Admitting the problem. Step two? Action. And it better come soon. If you're still here, you're one of the real ones. Now's the time to rise up and demand more from this team. Because the only way out of this mess is forward. So let's start walking that path together. Subscribe to the channel, drop a like if you're fed up with the current state of the team, and click on the video on your screen right now for more breaking Falcons content. Go Falcons!